we shall continue to look at the Muslim dynasties in the subcontinent and their influence on education in the region. We've previously looked at the Ghaznavi dynasty, the Ghori dynasty, the Slave dynasty, and the Khilji dynasty. Under those four dynasties, we saw that there was emphasis on education in all four periods of time. From the next dynasty, which is the Tughlaq dynasty, we will begin to see a slight decline in the focus on education. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was the founder of this dynasty, and he was interested in art and literature. So, the result was that art and literature flourished under the Tughlaqs, but other areas of education, particularly the sciences and the math that began to develop previously, take a turn downwards. That is because literature was focused on, art was focused on, and a prominent individual of this period was Ibn Battuta, who was a historian, toured India extensively. Now remember, we are talking of many, many hundreds of years ago. There were no cars, no cycles, no airplanes, nothing. So touring took time, and the period that he toured was extensive. On foot or on horseback was by far the choice. And so he toured, he discovered, he found things, and then he puts them in writing. So Ibn Battuta's historical writings are the focus of the Tughlaq period. By far a prominent individual, by far an individual who took time out and spent time on his own in the wilderness of India, discovering India for himself, and then putting it in writing. What was the purpose of putting all this in writing? All his tours, it developed geography, it developed mapping, it developed routes, because when he moved from one place to another, he also included directions, how to get from one place to another. So any individual reading Ibn Battuta's work could actually follow Ibn Battuta's footsteps and redo the tours that Ibn Battuta did. So it enhanced not only his own learning, but it also enhanced the learning of individuals who were interested in following or continuing or taking the next step from where Ibn Battuta left off. So, as a historian and a writer, in the ancient world, historians and writers had to go together. You could not tour and take notes and pass them on to somebody else to write them out for you. And that is the focus of literature. Through this touring, art also flourished, because obviously art in the Indian world was very different. And so it opened another area of investigation, another area of study, whereby individuals learned different art forms, varied art forms, new art forms, and tried to make an amalgam of the two. And so we will see an influence of Islamic art and architecture in later periods during the Muslim dynasty rule in the subcontinent. Under the Tughlaqs, unfortunately, sciences did not develop, mathematics did not develop, because the rulers had their emphasis elsewhere, had their interest elsewhere. Because their interest was in art and literature, those two fields primarily studied, and because of certain individuals like Ibn Battuta, history survived, history was taught, and this led to geography and mapping. You cannot do geography without map work, and Ibn Battuta's tour of India introduced that skill to the Muslim people at that time.